Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Uncovered with Jalyn Johnson. I'm your host, Jalyn Johnson, and I'm sitting next to one of the sweetest human beings on the planet. This is Hannah Stutts, and she is a dancer and cheerleader for the Tennessee Titans.
Yes.
I met her when she was just a little freshman at Mississippi State back in the day. Time flies. When I was starting grad school, and we just bonded so quickly when I got there, and I'm just in love with her spirit, and we bonded over being very deep in our faith and all the things. So I thought it was really important to do an episode of a professional dancer cheerleader, and I thought she would be perfect. So I'm so excited to talk to you about your journey and getting here to Nashville, Tennessee. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Of course, absolutely. So I want to start off with just giving people the rundown of what it takes to go through preparation for tryouts, all the things to get onto a team.
Yeah, it's a lot, and I didn't realize how much it would be till you kind of start the process. You know, if you're someone that's danced in college or in high school, you kind of think you know how it works, and then you get there and you're like, oh, this is so different. You know, everything in pros is bigger on a bigger stage, and so yeah, I was learning as I was going, but I'll just kind of like go through my kind of process.
Yeah.
You know, every team, no matter if it's NFL, NBA, NHL, every team does it differently. Every team within, say, the pros, like my team, say, does it completely different from another NFL team. But yeah, so I started this process, it'll be a year ago in March, which is crazy. So I graduated from Mississippi State in May of 2023, and I took a year, so I did not start the whole tryout process till, you know, March, April of 2024. Mm-hmm. And about the time when I decided I was gonna do it was about January, and that was when I was like, okay, it's time to jump on board. We need to like get back in dance shape. Like I need to do my research, like see, you know, all the different teams and where I want to go. When you're going about the tryout process of a pro team, I actually learned this at a convention that I went to in college with Mississippi State, is you kind of have to do your research. It's almost like picking a team as if you pick college. Mm-hmm. You have to love the city. You want to be able to want to live in the city that you're picking. Every team prioritizes or specializes in different things. You know, some are more hip hop, some are more pom, some are more jazzy, and then, you know, some dance in cowboy boots or heels or sneakers. So even small things like that, you don't think about until it's time to go through that process. So being from Alabama and being from Huntsville, we don't really grow up as like, there's pro teams, but we grow up in college, and like college football is where it's at. So, you know, you kind of either lean maybe like Titans or Falcons, maybe Saints location wise. But I had grown up training in Nashville, and so I was kind of familiar with the area. So I knew post-grad, Nashville was like one of my top cities that I wanted to go to. So I had been kind of following the team throughout college, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So they hosted, or the Titans hosted a clinic back last March at the stadium. You learn some pom routines, you learn a hip hop routine. They have a Q&A, they answer any questions that you might have. So I went to that in March, and then at that point I was like, okay, yeah, like I want to try out for this team. And then come April is when they start the tryout process. And this is where it gets different depending on every team. Because of COVID, a lot of teams have realized that they can do like virtual rounds the first few. So they opened up tryouts. You know, submit headshots and resumes, and they'll give you a criteria of like videos they're looking for. They have you learn some routines. And then from there, you submit your videos, and if you make it on to in-person finals, about a week or two, or I guess a couple weeks after that when I found out I made it to finals, came and stayed a week in Nashville, and we had in-person practices with like other people that made it to finals, returning vets. We just had practices, and then at the end of that week, we have a live tryout where there's a whole panel of judges and you're performing on a stage. And then about a week later is when I found out I made the team. So
Did you always know that you wanted to cheer or dance professionally?
No, I didn't. It's actually funny. When I kind of started in college, I had no plan of doing pros. You know, like I said, being from, especially like the South, being from Alabama, you know, my mom went to Mississippi State, my dad went to Alabama. That was the culture I was raised in. I, you know, never really looked into pros. So kind of a background of my training pre-college was me and my little brother both danced. We did it together, and we did industry stuff. So we have an agent. I'm signed by Coastal. We have an office in LA and New York. And so I was going to auditions. I was traveling with conventions. I was kind of in that mindset that, okay, I guess before I even made the decision that I was going to go to Mississippi State, like my thought process was, I'm going to go out to LA, I'm going to dance, like I'm going to work. That's where my head's at. And I was actually doing a job September of my senior year. I was out in LA doing a shoot for Disneyland. Me and my mom were out there, and at the time I was kind of leaning towards wanting to go to school out there. I knew college was going to be, I was going to college no matter what, but I was looking at schools more on the West Coast, so I was able to do both. And we were just driving, and I was like, you know what, Mom, like I'm not ready to move this far. Like I think I want to.
It's a long way.
It is. I was like, you know, I'm a big homebody, so I love being close to home. And I was like, I just think I want to kind of have the college experience, like kind of in the South. And so didn't even really know if I was going to do college dance team. Where me and you bond so much is I love sports.
Yes.
So I kind of thought, okay, well, if I'm going to go to school in the South, like I want to intern, I want to start carrying cords and then work my way up. Dance team just kind of like, it really did, it worked out, and I thought I was gonna do it 1 year. Well, 1 year turned to 4. And so even past college, I didn't have any plan of doing this, but it was actually my college coach that kind of put it in my ear that I should maybe look into it, so.
Which is so crazy, because if y'all have, and I will put some clips of her dancing, but it comes so naturally to you, I feel like. When I see you dance, I feel like I see you in your element. So it's so interesting to hear that wasn't something that you even like thought about doing, because I can't think about you not dancing. But I think something that was interesting that we've kind of talked about was you thinking you wanted to do sports and going into that, and how you use that lane to get there. I kind of want you to speak a little bit about merging all your different likes and interests and trying to make that lane work for you with all of the different things that you like, and how you're doing that now with like your PR and modeling and all that stuff.
Right. So like I said, I have grown up, especially a big college football fan. It's just kind of in my blood. I had parents I was a very big house divided, so every single fall football season, we were either in Starkville or in Tuscaloosa for games, and so I kind of like don't know life without college football or college sports in general. And so when I got to high school, you know, I was the girl that, you know, I watched games every Saturday. I could throw out stats. I could, you know, I found joy in like following sports and following athletes and programs. Like it made me excited. I loved to like sit at the table with all the boys and, you know, talk college football or whatnot, high school football. And so I was like, okay, when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do in college and like figure out what I wanted to major in, I was like, okay, I want to go into sports broadcasting. You know, I was idolizing people like Erin Andrews and Samantha Ponder and Laura Rutledge. Like that's who I wanted to be. And so as I progressed on through high school and realized that's what I wanted to do, that was a big part of me choosing Mississippi State, because, you know, I had my mom that went to school there. I had grown up going there my entire life, so it truly did feel like home. And why would I go someplace far and pass up on a school that's in the SEC, that's going to bring those SEC internships, because I'm sure, as you know, it's in this industry, it's not as much like what you get your degree in, where you got it from. It's what experience you have. It's who you know. It's the connections you make. And so I was like, why would I pass up on an incredible opportunity like that to go someplace far? So that's like what helped me choose Mississippi State. And they allowed me to share and bring all my passions and put them into one. And so when I decided to try out for dance team, I was gonna give it 1 year, because I knew past dance, this is what I wanted my career to be in. And I was like, okay, I'll give this 1 year. Well, COVID hit February, March of my freshman year, so obviously that altered a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'll dance the second year, what little we could.
Yeah,
and
there
then
were so many restrictions to that.
There was. And then during COVID, I feel like that's where social media really blew up. And that's kind of like where I got started in social media. Was I used my platform of dance team, and I just kind of like brought that to social media because there was not much else we could do. And so from there, I was able to dance what turned into 1 year, and then 2 years, turned into all 4 years. And because of building those relationships, building those connections within athletics, that opened so many doors for me to share my passion of sports and broadcasting and being the MC in-game girl for baseball games. It was funny, like I would be dancing on top of a dugout one inning, and then I would run to the other one and be interviewing, little dude of the game, or doing left field lounge videos. And so it's so special and it's so cool. And I just kind of expressed like my dreams and goals at my time at Mississippi State to my professors as well as my coaches, and they were able to kind of help me bring that all to life. Mm-hmm. And so I can't thank them enough for giving me the opportunities to not only dance, but kind of step into that broadcasting sports world.
How do you feel like the tryout process at Mississippi State for the dance team helped you and prepared you for professional dance and for the NFL?
Great question. So just like in college, we have to retry out every single year in the pros. Now, with college dance team now, 4 or 5 years later since my freshman year, a lot of teams are leaning towards that recruiting process early on in high school. So the game has changed a lot, but all 4 of my years at State, I had to try out every year. So just being there, being in person, and kind of having that pressure that, you might have had a great season, or no one's spot is guaranteed. Yeah. Making sure that you're staying on top of it in the off season, continuously training and staying in dance shape and like working on what you can do better. That's the number one thing. And because that is one thing they don't recruit in pros. Like you have to try out every single year. My freshman year, now it did kind of change in college too. We had to have come prepared with the solo. Same thing in pros, so you have to do that. College dance team showed me how to go about interview processes. Like I had to interview in college just like I do pros. So during my time, it was a lot similar to like what I have to do now. And so just honestly, everything, even post-COVID, when the first few rounds of tryouts, those were virtual. So I really learned how to get my lighting set and film myself and what angles, and having to like rent studio space, just small things like that really made this whole pro process a lot easier for me.
What was the hardest part of the pro process for you?
Oh gosh, because I did take a year off, and like I said, this is different from maybe another person, is I did take a year, and I had a whole year to kind of evaluate, is this something I still wanted to do? I can't lie, I had doubt. I was not training as much as I used to, and I was like, do I still have it? Like, do I still have the passion for it? Like, am I gonna look right? Like, does this I think that I was more like in my head about things.
The mental part of it.
The mental part of picking up and moving again. And, when I think about, my dance team, they were like sisters, they were family, but like we all were on the same schedule of, we knew we kind of had class at the same time because we had practice. So we were all on the same schedule. We could go and do everything together. I will say here in pros, this is your job, and a lot of people have jobs outside of this. So you can't just call one of your teammates or your coworkers and be like, hey, let's go get coffee or something after. People have jobs and lives, and you're picking up and moving to a lot bigger city than say Huntsville, and especially Starkville. So I think what was harder is the life outside of cheering was kind of the hardest part, more so than what was happening within the team.
How are you balancing that? Because what I think people don't understand, or maybe they do, but this is a full-time, you guys are practicing just like teams are practicing all week. And then you guys show up to work on Sundays. How do you balance doing all of that and then also having a life outside of that?
It's hard. And I have learned that when you dance in pros, you really see like how much you love it. You see how much you love the sport, because you do have to make a lot of sacrifices. You know, a lot of my teammates don't just have 9 to 5s. They have jobs that it's a lot more extensive. I mean, you've got lawyers, you've got ER nurses, you've got realtors, you've got teachers. And you know, a lot of people don't get off work till 5 or 6 o'clock. And for us, we start practice at like say 6:30 and it goes late into the night. And then you have to get up and you have to go to your job the next day. And you know, a lot of what I've found too for myself is like moving to a new city. Yeah, I know a lot of people here from college or from like other areas of life, but it's still a big city. It's still very new. It's a lot of change. Even though I've grown up coming here versus living here is two different things. And what I've had to learn is, you know, a lot of people, when you've just moved to a big city, there's work dinners and there's happy hours and there's the mingling after hours and on the weekends. Well, our job is at night and on the weekends.
You're at work.
You're at work. You're at work. You're at work. And that speaks for not just cheerleaders. You know, that speaks for anyone in sports. You're working when everyone else is not working. And you really learn how passionate you are and how much you love it, because it is, you really have to learn that work-life balance, and you have to really enjoy life when you get those off moments, because there's not a lot of them. But how incredibly blessed are we that we get to experience and see sports from the view that we do too, because I know a lot of people don't get that. So it's a you have to find the happy medium in it all.
Tell me about game days. What are game days like?
Wow. Okay. Game days are incredible. Now, I will say, it was kind of a culture shock because I'm used to going from college game days. And college game days and pro game days are kind of a daylight and dark difference. Yes, there's similarities, but there's a lot of differences. Kind of like I said earlier, everything is on a bigger stage. Everything. The field, the fans, the players, the atmosphere, it's all bigger. And so that has been incredibly cool. Everything is a lot quicker paced. So that's been a big adjustment. But yeah, I am learning what a pro style culture is like. It's very different from college, but it's been really cool to see it, especially seeing it from the sidelines.
What is your day? Like, what time are you up? Very
different from how we go about college. You know, we enter the stadium certain ways. We have field practices. We have pregame appearances. And while I feel like those are a lot more laid back in college, they're a lot more scheduled in the pros. And so I get there anywhere, say, you know, 5-6 hours before kickoff, just for safety protocols. And we have field practices, and then our team is really cool. We have a kind of a glam squad, so we're really blessed to work with them, and they will come and do our hair and our makeup if they would choose, so they allot for time to do that. And then we do obviously a lot of different performances and appearances before pregame, and then similar to college, we do have a pregame show, and then we dance obviously throughout the game. Some teams do quarter changes, some teams do halftime. For us this season, we did at the 2-minute warning before the half. And then, yeah, we obviously dance on the sidelines throughout the whole game. So it really just depends as to what time kickoff is. You know, if it's a Thursday night game, a Sunday night game, a Monday night game, it really does differ. So I don't have like a hard schedule. We just have to be very lenient.
Let's say that there are some people out there who feel like y'all are just pretty and show up and dance on the sidelines. What do you want them to know about what it is like really to be a pro dancer?
I'm so happy that you asked this question.
Because I want to debunk things
I would love to debunk. So I'm so happy that you ask it, because I feel like I will forever want to talk about this, because I truly, unless you were in the dance world, unless you're a dancer or a cheerleader, I know it's a very hard concept to grasp of how much goes into it.
Yeah.
And you know, so much of our job is to make it look easy, and I feel like we do it so good that people don't realize, wow, how much goes into it. And I will say it's very hard. You know, in college, we practiced in the mornings. My day started at 4:45 because we were up running at 5:30, and we were a 5:30 to 7:45 Monday through Thursday. So as you can imagine, it was hard. So say come spring season, you have an 8 o'clock tip off for a big SEC basketball game. You get done at 10, you got to eat, you got to shower, you got to do your homework. You're back up, say between 4:45 and 5. You're on the ground running from those 2 hours of practice.
Y'all aren't 4:45 in the morning. Y'all aren't doing that. y'all just aren't.
And you got to go to school. And then, so that in itself is like a very, like that's hard. That's hard. I don't feel like it's very much talked about. The training that you put your body through is incredibly hard. And at 23, it's not as easy as it once was at all 18. That's another thing the pros have shown me.
Crying in 28, my 28-year-old body. That's breaking down.
Yes, the pros have shown me, wow, as I'm getting older, this is not getting as easy as I thought it was. But, you know, our training is so extensive, and because we're made and taught to like look so graceful and so light on our feet and made it to look so easy, it's so hard to show like the blood, the sweat, and the tears that go on behind it. My other thing to add on top of this is, you know, on a game day, no matter if it's for me dancing in pros right now for NFL, or if it's back in my college days to where it was football, basketball, or baseball, you know, me being a sports fan, it's very hard because the emotions of the crowd get amped depending on what's going on in the game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, naturally, you want to get into the game also. Like a ref might call something you don't agree with, or a play might have happened that, you know, so much goes on in a game. Well, it's our job, no matter what's going on, to keep the spirits high, to keep the fans engaged, to stay happy, to smile. You know, you got to add weather into it.
Oh my gosh.
The game that we just cheered, it was cold, freezing rain, and you can't let that affect you because like this is your job. It's your job to be happy, to have a lot of energy, to be smiling no matter what's going on. And as like a sports fan or just, you know, anyone in general, that can be hard, but like, and people forget that. And it's just, while it's so awesome that we get to wear like the pretty uniforms with the sparkles and hold the pom-poms, you know, it's hard, and there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and questioning in the past. So I'm so glad you asked that question.
Yeah, of course, because you've been dancing since you were 3. So
yes.
This is not something that is new to you. And I'm glad that you keep referring to it as it is a sport, because I get irritated a lot of times when I go on athletics websites and you always find the dancers and the cheerleaders under like some random tab. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of that has to do with like Title IX, the number of what, but it's like, you guys are student athletes as much as every other sport that is on campus. Did you have to run into, or did you run into any instances in college where you had to feel like fight harder for things that the dance team wanted or needed because people didn't consider you all a sport?
Yeah, so I want to first off say, like, thank the athletes, both cheer and dance, that went before us, as well as the coaches, because when I was in high school, spirit squads, at least at Mississippi State, were still under, I want to say, like, student clubs and organizations. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to say, I think like a year or two before I got there is when they made the big switch from like club to athletics, where they were under the athletics umbrella. And so for me, I will say my first year versus my 4th year looked like daylight and dark difference. And even when I go back now, I see all the hard work that we put into it my 4 years, and seeing, you know, the advantages that say that, you know, both cheer and dance receive now, and just, you know, the visuals and the small things like nutritionists and, you know, workout plans and academic advisors, just having access to those resources. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Is I did run into that, and I think every cheerleader and dancer can agree with me. I think cheer and dance has come leaps and bounds, say, as it did 5, 10, 15 years ago, for sure. I think it has still leaps and bounds to go.
Yeah.
I think too, you know, it's just, it goes back to that question, how hard is it? Because we make it look so easy. People don't consider it a sport, but, with UDA and UCA nationals, college nationals coming up, you see how much they put their bodies through. I think with time it's starting to grow and get the respect it deserves, but I think I will always be an advocate of highlighting cheer and dance as being a full-blown sport as well, because there's all these different Netflix series that have done documentaries on Division I, Division II cheer teams, college dance teams, pro teams. You do run into that, but you be a voice in a positive light, and you educate people. Whenever I would get not questioned, but people would ask about it, the best thing you can do is tell them about it.
Yeah.
It's just educating them on, no, this is what, I know we look like this on a game day and it looks like all sparkles and rainbows and yes, we have a beautiful advantage of being able to truly interact with fans and take pictures, but it's gruesome. Our practices are not easy. Physically, to dance, we don't get a break during timeout or during halftime. The show goes on.
I want to talk about the year that you took off from dance. Mm-hmm. Why did you take the year off?
I very much overcommitted myself in college, and looking back, I would do it all over again, and I would do it the exact same way. When I got to school, I wanted to be involved in every nook and cranny and corner on campus. I wanted to really take advantage of all 4 years, and I feel like I truly did that. I feel like I did that to a point that I got burnout. I was exhausted. I was dealing with some health issues my last year and a half that I needed to come home and take care of. And so come graduation, I thought up until that point, I didn't think I knew. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew what career I wanted to have. But by the time I got to graduation, it's I had questioned everything. I was burnout. I was tired. I didn't know where I wanted to live. I didn't know if I wanted to keep dancing. I didn't know if I was ready for the real world. It started as, I'll come home for a summer. I'll give myself 3 months. I'll go see the doctors that I need to. I'll get healthy. I'll move in the fall. Well, 3 months turned into a year. And I went home and I worked, and I just kind of got my feet back up under me. I just kind of evaluated my whole 4 years in college, and I was like, what does Hannah like? What does Hannah not like? What makes her happy? What, lights her soul? And where is your passions at? It was really hard too, because I think I allowed my whole identity to become a college athlete, specifically a college dancer. And, that does come to an end. We can't go to college forever, unfortunately. And I just kind of had to come back to myself and be listen, as incredible as that experience was, and that will always be a part of your story, that is not all who Hannah Stutts is.
Yeah.
And I needed to take that year to mature and realize that there's more to life than just being an athlete. There's more to life than I can bring more to the table. I have more to offer. I can do more than just dance. And that's not harping on it. I will be dancing going into my grave. And that's okay. But I allowed, because it was coming to an end, I didn't know who I was anymore. And so that year going home really allowed me to say yes, I am a dancer, but I'm also so much more.
And I think that's something a lot of student athletes deal with. When I was working student athlete development at Mississippi State, that was a big thing that we talked about, preparing people to separate themselves from being a student athlete. If you weren't going pro, or if you weren't going straight to, another team or something like that, how did you get your mind right in that time off to figure out what Stutts wanted and who Stutts was aside from being a dancer?
God, and B, my parents.
Yeah.
Truthfully. And just I've had an incredible support system, and I seriously cannot thank them enough, because if it wasn't for them, I think I would still be a loose cannon and I would still be in a tailspin. But just, having that constant of them being Hannah, when you were this lost, you lean on your faith. You sit down and you dive into prayer and you just ask God, help me. Help me just wake up and put one foot in front of the other, and whatever life brings, like your journey, like this is God's plan for you, and while you might not know now, it will eventually, like, he will show you where you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to be with and what you're supposed to do in life. It might not happen when you want it to, but that's part of faith, is like not being able to visually see like what our plan is, but trusting in God, knowing that he does have a plan for us, and that,
come on, preach, Hannah,
he has bigger doors. When one door closes, a bigger and better one opens. And so leaning on my faith, but just having my parents to open me back in with open arms and be like, listen, you take your time, you get healthy first off, and then we go from there. And they've always been so supportive of my dreams and aspirations, and so I truly would not be here today if it wasn't for them. And so that is that they have kept me grounded, and that is literally why the only reason I am sitting across from you today.
Shout out to the parents.
Shout out to mom and dad.
Love y'all. I want to circle back.
Okay.
You were telling me that when you are trying out or searching for a team, a pro team, you have to do all this research. Some people are tap, some people are jazz, some people. What area of dance do you feel most comfy in? I think I know, but I want to hear where you feel like you feel most comfy.
Crazy, but I kind of grew up traditional jazz girl, and when I started to enter that entertainment side, is when I really deep dived into hip hop and very stylistic dance, finding my own flair. Yeah. I'm gonna say that my style is jazz funk. I like a little bit of jazz, a little bit of hip hop. I'm leaning more to the hip hop side these days, but I love just kind of being able to, show a little hip and shoulder action, get a little salsa in there. And this is so funny to kind of tap in, is there's no I in team, and being on a pro team or a college team, it's not solo world anymore, where so many dancers come from competition world where they're soloist, and you're a unit, and so you have to look as one. And it's funny because early on in college I was not the cleanest dancer, because I'd been trained, I was, the last few years that I had been dancing, I was very stylistic, individual, when you go into an audition, you gotta look, they're looking for something new and fresh. And so I had to really learn, especially too with pom, I was not very well versed in pom at all, because we had just I went to a small private high school, or a small school. I went there 1st through 12th grade, and we didn't even get a dance team until my sophomore year. So I really was not used to even holding poms that much till I got to college. So, I will say hip hop, jazz funk.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. She's a sassy girl. I'm going to put some clips and stuff. This is a sassy girl right here. When you are dancing, where do you go? Where is your alter ego? Beyonce has Sasha Fierce. You have...
Well, it's funny that you call me Stutts, because I kind of got that nickname in college. And while I'm the only Hannah on my team now, and so I've not had to be related to or known as Stutts. But it's kind of funny, in college, I guess I could say my alter ego would be Stutts or something like that. Stut like you mean it, Strut Cheetah girls. Cheetah girls. No, this is gonna sound so cliche, but I feel the most alive on a field. And I think, even reflecting on that year that I took off, when I even questioned if I was ever going to come back to this, I think there was a part of me at one point that was ready to not be done, but I was okay, and I had accepted to let it go and to close that door. But nothing ever truly beats the feeling, especially of dancing in front of a live audience. I had grown up going to Mississippi State, so I was the little girl in the little cheer uniform. I said this, we had the same seats, we sat in section 3, row 39, my whole entire life. Dance team danced in front of us the 1st and 4th quarter. So I grew up idolizing that. Yeah. And my first game, my freshman year, I will forever tell about. It was probably went down as the hottest game in Mississippi State history. It's sad I can't remember who we played.
I don't even remember who we played.
I just know that it was unbearably hot.
Yeah.
And even in that moment when we did pregame and you can like hear the cowbells and you can hear the fight song, I literally got chills in like 112 degree weather with probably like heat index of what I don't even know, because like nothing beats that feeling. And I always was afraid that feeling was going to go away. Well, I can say 6 years later, just wrapping up my rookie year in the pros, nothing beats stepping on a sideline and just feeling the presence that sports brings. I just think it's incredible. It's just, I like get emotional talking about it. So I just like being a sponge and like trying to be so where my feet are at, because you only get so many opportunities. And I've, college versus pro, I was a year-round sport. So like when one sport would end, another one was beginning. And like we would have crossover seasons. So I had like football, basketball crossover, and then basketball, baseball. You get 10 games, usually 9, maybe 10 if you're lucky, depending on how many preseason games you host. If you're a heavy home or away season that year, luckily we were a heavy home season.
Yeah.
We got 10 games, and it, like sitting here now, it flew by. Yeah. It feels like just yesterday I was doing my first preseason game. So just like, I just try to be where my feet are at in that moment and just like take it all in, because it's truly unexplainable. It's incredible.
What do you think you learned most about yourself in your rookie year?
Oh gosh, that's something I haven't thought about.
I love this.
I love this.
Come on, self-reflection.
Growth. I don't even know if that's the right word to say, but I don't even know if there's a certain word, but I will say, coming off of college and taking that year break, I think I left things very not finished. I think my last month, 2 months of college, it was very blurred, and I was not where my feet were at, because I was stressing graduation and what was next, and everyone was like, what are you doing next? I was just kind of going about maybe dancing professionally, because that's all I'd ever known, and everyone was like, oh, you can't not, that's who you are.
Felt like the next
yes,
step.
I had to stop myself and be like, okay, does Hannah actually want to do this? Or am I just doing this because everyone's telling me I should do this? And so coming back and ending this season after taking a year off, I'm so thankful that I did, because I've matured a lot. I've refound the love for dance yet again. And I'm just thankful for the community it's brought me. The dance and cheer world is so small. Once you get in it, it is it seems so big, but it truly is so small. And I'm gonna say I'm really proud of myself and my growth, because I didn't think I was ever gonna do this again. And I watched teammates that were captains with me and captains the year before me and 2 and 3 years before me go, and they live out this dream. Mm-hmm. And I kind of always questioned that was supposed to be me. Why is that not me? I was so lost. So lost. And I'm just proud of if it were to end tomorrow, I'm so thankful I had this year. I'm so thankful that if I didn't continue on, that this is the note I ended it on. I have an incredible coach. I have an incredible team. The people that work for the organization are incredible. I just have made what I feel truly are going to be lifelong friends, people that will be in my wedding one day, people that I will take with me in life no matter where I go and what I'm doing, and just the growth of moving to a big city and chasing a dream that I thought was kind of over. Yeah. So a bunch of words mixed into one. Yeah. But that's how reflecting on this last year. So.
Yeah. Well, State to Sundays is not just about the players, honey. Mississippi State has put out some very great dancers that are all over the country right now. We have people at the Colts, we have people in the NBA, we have people all over the place. So when y'all hear State to Sundays, don't just be thinking about the players.
Yeah.
Be thinking about my girls.
If anyone's watching, during football games, they do post State to Sundays with where the players. Y'all do got a few cheerleaders.
Y'all do have some cheerleaders.
If y'all are needing some more graphic content, we could do State to Sundays Dance and Cheer Edition.
Shout out to Taylor Lee also for being a crazy good coach while I was there, and to Hannah, and she was just a star. So shout out to Taylor Lee, we love you. So last thing, why do you feel it's important for you to be uncovered?
Oh, wow. I love this. This is deep. I think to kind of just wrap up what all we've talked about is I am so incredibly blessed, like I said, for the opportunities that I've been given, not just in the pro world, but in the college world, in the high school world. And I'm so thankful that I have been able to cross my path of dance and my passion for it, but also my passion for sports. And I feel like I just want to continue to be an advocate for this sport within athletics. I truly don't feel like it's talked about enough, and just highlighting how much goes into being a dancer and a cheerleader, and just being able to uncover that and to educate people. And so if I can use my platform to share my story in hopes of other future men and women that want to enter the cheer and dance world and that are hesitant, you can do it. It is legit. It is hard, but it is hard work. But it is incredible, and just like any other sport, it's great. It truly is.
And you're a star in it. You are a star. If y'all are ever watching Titans games, because she's gonna try out again, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. If y'all are watching Titans games next season, because she will be back on the sideline, make sure that y'all are looking out for her. Tell them how they can follow you on all the socials.
Yeah. So my name is Hannah Stutts. I'm pretty sure all my socials is just at Hannah Stutts. Follow me Instagram, TikTok. I kind of deep dive more into my sports fanatics for Twitter, but Facebook.
All the places.
All the places.
Well, thank you so much, Lovebug. I'm so excited that you agreed to do this, because I just think the world of you and your talent. So.
Like I said, Jalyn has been my role model since my freshman year, so I am truly blessed and honored to be on this.
Don't make
Seriously.
me cry.
We're having a full circle moment here.
We are. I love you so much.
Love you too.
Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with all your friends. If you know any dancers that are looking to get into college or professional, share Hannah's information, share this video, and
love to help in any way.
Respect your pro dancers and your college dancers and all your dancers and cheerleaders, because they do hard work, baby. I want to see y'all get out there and flip and flop all across the place. Okay? All right. Love y'all.